Hi, welcome to a different video from what I usually do, but I love character design and I love yapping, so I thought I would try this out. Today I am designing a human build based on his demonic form because I already have done a normal human build design. Short disclaimer because I know how comment sections can get. I'm not a professional, I'm doing this for fun, and if I've gotten something wrong, please feel free to educate me, but I expect everyone to be respectful to each other and to keep your insults for the playground. Thanks. Jumping right in, I'm getting a bunch of references off of Pinterest because Pinterest is my best friend when I'm doing character design. And I got Mardi Gras costumes as my main inspiration. And for the original design, I also used Midsummer Night's Dream play costumes. Sort of just going for a slightly otherworldly, like fairy look. So you can see me collaging them, and then I'm going to circle the parts that I want to use in the design. Like here, I love the triangular detailing. I'm definitely going to use that. And then for the next one, I thought I could use the shape to create the illusion of a second pair of arms because I wanted to challenge myself not to actually give the design an extra pair of arms, just to have the illusion of it. And that's the same idea I had for the sleeve there. I really loved the crowns. You'll see me use the cone shape for sure. This was just some cool details. And then for the feather boa there, I thought that could also work as a pair of arms. And then just more cool shapes. And then eventually, that top corner one I haven't circled yet, I'm gonna notice there is a creepy baby in the corner there. I just picked that image because I thought it looked cool. So that was a bit of a surprise. But I'm getting into sketching here. In the original design and in this one, I decided to give Bill a bottom-heavy body shape because he's a triangle and his he's bottom-heavy. Like, I genuinely, there's no other way I can put it. I tried to give him the most triangular body shape I could. I started by giving him a pose that was similar to the picture of his demonic form there, but it didn't really work out, so I gave him more of a floaty, godlike pose. You know, superheroes, they always have one leg lifted to make it look like they're flying. Yeah, that. Now I'm looking at my references, and I start with a sort of triangular looking collar instead of the little collars that he has in the original design. And then some spikes for more triangles. You could never have enough triangles if literally the only part of your character design is pretty much just a triangle. There's the feather boa that I thought could look like hands. It's not a feather boa, it just is what it is. And then I used those drapey bits on the original design to look like hands, which I will detail later. I'm kind of just blocking in the shapes for now. And then here, I believe, yeah, and then here I start on the crown, which I struggled with a bit, just because it's an awkward shape to have on somebody's head. I wanted to make it more ostentatious than the original design. You'll see I'm unhappy with it and I change it in a little bit. But sometimes you have to mix and match, you gotta experiment until it works. And here I was circling the hands to make sure that I had enough of those. And then I try to create a mouth shape on his stomach here with the clothing by kind of cutting off his middle part with the clothing. And then I made his collar sort of area bigger, more ostentatious again. At which point I realized I didn't have any torso references. So this is me getting references for the body area. I really loved the texture on the dress there. I thought bringing some texture into it would be fun. For this reference, I had no idea. I just thought it looked cool reference. For this, I loved the sort of triangular peacock look, and I think it works for Bill's big ego. The tassels I thought could work as teeth, and then this last one just has triangles on it. So, again, just thinking about triangles. And then here's where I realized I didn't actually like the crown area, so I redid that, and I struggled with it for a bit because I didn't want it to look too big because it would just kind of end up looking ridiculous. But I eventually settled on something that I liked that kind of has a triangular shape. And then the candles, because that's one of my favorite parts of the original design. You'll see me adding the tassels in there for the teeth. Very subtle, but sometimes that's better than a super obvious design. This is the peacock sort of thing, and then I'm also adding this half skirt he's got going on in the original design, making it all flowy and nice. And then I add the suit jacket sort of look and the bow, the bow tie, because those are important parts of Bill's actual design. And I struggled a bit with adding in that collar you can see in the original design. I ended up putting it on his back, and it's sort of meant to mimic the wheel that is prophesied to defeat him. And I'm gonna be ready to do my second sketch, I think right about now, like real soon. Of course, I use the symmetry tool. I don't know if that's considered like an art sin or something, but it just makes it a lot easier since a lot of my designs tend to be mostly symmetrical with a few exceptions. This was supposed to be just the body base, but I got a little carried away and added the sleeves too. And then, of course, those grippy villain hands and his face shape. His face shape was based on the Joker from DC, just with a little fat added to it. Because, of course, they have pretty similar personalities. And adding the nose, which is like supposed to be small and also sort of triangular. Of course, gotta get those wrinkles in. I love drawing wrinkles, and they really help with the smile lines. And I think a prominent Cupid's bow really lends itself to impish characters. Then with the eyelashes, I went for normal eyelashes, didn't look right, and then went for more like, again, impish, sort of vintage, alternative eyelashes that are just kind of straight lines. Here I am lining the crown, which ends up looking pretty much the same as the original one. I keep calling it crown. That's not what it is. I don't know what else to call it. It's very unorthodox. And here's me adding in the teeth tassels. This is generally one of my favorite parts of the design. I don't think it necessarily carries as teeth, but it's so fun, and tassels are so fun just in general. The belt there is meant to mimic the belt of bricks that he's got in the original design once again. And this is me adding in the jacket part, the jacket skirt thing. I was trying to figure out how to add the bricks to this design as well. I thought if it lined the whole thing, it would be a little too busy, so I ended up just doing that simple shape. And then the triangles in the corner there are also not what the final design is gonna look like. Those are gonna be those ornate designs from one of the references that I mentioned earlier. Deciding how to add the texture to the dress. Here I really went fast and loose with it. I had no idea what I was doing. When I clean it up, it's definitely gonna be more cohesive. Then I'm adding in the triangles on the peacock part, and here I'm going on with the lining. So the line art here isn't actually line art. I would spend a lot more time on it, and my line art is typically thinner, but for character designs I don't super worry about making the line art super clean, since it's just to get the idea across and not to have a finished piece of it. And this is, since we're just lining it, this is a pretty good time to talk about what Mardi Gras actually is, because I mentioned it and then I kind of just jumped in and didn't explain it. So Mardi Gras is also called Fat Tuesday, Shrove Tuesday, or Pancake Tuesday, and it's the final carnival day and time of excess before the beginning of Lent. Lent being the Christian observance of typically fasting that lasts for 40 days until Easter. In the past, the costumes were a way to protect the identity of the wearer because they would probably be doing some hard partying and unsavory acts. And of course, the Christian part does not line up with Bill at all, but the partying absolutely does. 100%. And I specifically chose Venetian costumes because they are so otherworldly. They look so cool. I'm in love with them. Added the brick pattern in there, and this is me figuring out how I want to do the texture once again, because it's not super readable on the reference image, and I wasn't sure what I wanted. I ended up being able to incorporate triangles again, which don't ask me how I did that. If I ever have to draw this in motion, which I might, I will struggle. What is going on here? Sorry if this is nauseating, by the way. Oh, okay, I was trying to align the circle tool so I could get the ring in the back there. And then this is me erasing it and adding in guidelines, and just, this is a more technical, well, I wouldn't call it technical, it's not that hard, but I don't like using rulers. I love it when I can just sketch freehand, but that's not always the case. The original design has like sort of slipper-like shoes, once again taking from the Midsummer Night's Dream stage costumes that I used as inspiration in the original one. Not so much in this one, because I kind of just transferred it from the original design. And I thought that they were literally just slippers, but I'll realize a little bit later that no, they did have like a proper heel and stuff and a pointed toe. So I'll add that in a bit later. Pointed toe just feels so appropriate for Bill. You know why? Because points. I'm gonna talk about triangles so much. I already have talked about triangles so much. It's kind of inevitable when that's the main part of your reference. Here I'm adding in candles. I love drawing the droopy bits on candles. It's so fun. Figuring out how to space them out. And then here's where I actually draw in the hands that I wanted on the drapey bits. Here I'm literally just copying the mask from the original design. My thought behind it in the original was that I needed a way for him to only have one eye, and the masks are very important to the carnival, the Venetian carnival. I'm not sure how it is in other areas for Mardi Gras, actually. So that hole in his face is like, he doesn't have a second eye. Here, I slow the video down just so you can see how slow I actually am. And I'm giving him teeth. In the original, you can't really see because I didn't intend it that way. I just kind of made his teeth crooked in the original. But I thought that it would work better if he had just a bunch of different teeth in the wrong places, because we know that guy likes deer teeth, so why can't he have different kinds of teeth? It's a little creepy, it's a little inhuman. I do like giving him sort of uncanny appearance, so he's not completely human, and I mean that's even more obvious in this design than in the original, because this is his demonic form. I'm blocking in colors here. I didn't want to go with the really bright colors in the reference image because I don't like using bright colors. That's a me thing. I don't know how to make them work and not make them look eye-bleeding or ridiculous. So I didn't bother. I just sort of blocked in vaguely similar colors based on where they appear in the reference image. The reference image that I'm using from my original design is actually, it has a filter over it. And I was too lazy to get the one with just solid color blocking, so I'm editing the colors and trying to get them how I originally envisioned them. But this is what I came up with on my first pass, and then I realized it looks like a McDonald's figurine. Like, those are McDonald's colors. So I pulled up a reference image with some dark reds and golds on it, and I tried to use that instead, and it did help a little bit, but I'm still feeling kind of McDonald's about it. and the golden pants just looked so awkward. I decided I would add a front bit to that area there to make it more like a tunic. And I think that helped. It was just a little awkward, but it still wasn't working, so I put a filter over it. When in doubt about your colors, just put a filter over it. It'll tie everything together just a little bit better. And then I blocked in where the little designs would be that I will definitely do better later with. At that point, I had realized it was really late and then I went to bed because I had to get up in 5 hours. And then now that I'm properly coloring this is where I had woken up, I did the thing I needed to do, and then I sat back down immediately and finished this. And I kid you not, I was falling asleep. It was not great. But I got it done, and that's what matters. That's not a good lesson to impart. Take care of your health and your sleep first. I'm not a good role model. So just to avoid any of those like little white pixels that you get sometimes when you fill in, when you use the bucket tool, I just line the areas and then I set the bucket tool to active layer, and that usually gets rid of any of those weird bucket tool mistakes. It takes a little longer, but honestly, sometimes I find it very calming. Even though I have to line every little bit like these candles. I forgot to mention, I made the pants black instead of gold because I couldn't. It looked too ridiculous to me when the pants were yellow. Maybe somebody will disagree, but again, I don't know how to use bright colors. I did study hours of color theory and I still don't understand it, truly. There's not much else. Oh, I'll be quiet for a second. I have thought of something else to say, because I forgot to mention it earlier. I made the trims triangular here, which I didn't do in the original design. In the original design, the trim on the crown is sort of just a normal lacy looking thing. I made them triangles here because I thought it would look a little more aggressive. Because we know pointy shapes, we know our character language. Pointy shapes are scary. That's why Bill is the scariest character in all of Gravity Falls, because he is a triangle, and triangles are the pointiest shapes. Alex Hirsch knew what he was doing. Here I'm looking at the references and putting in those weird designs on the collar that I mentioned wanting to do earlier. Not really any thought put behind it. An eye there because Bill has an eye. And then just some random shapes, and of course a little triangle on top because it's a triangle. Hey, new drinking game. Take a shot every time I talk about adding triangles to the design. And then I did the same thing. I sort of mimicked those little designs in the peacock area, just simplified because it would have been a little too complicated otherwise. And that was a bit of a problem here. I had to balance so many things that I wanted to do with the fact that I didn't want to make the character design too busy. It is already very animator unfriendly. Like, there would be so much you would have to take away to be able to put this in an actual show, but I'm doing character design for fun, not for somebody to actually use, except for me, again, when I inevitably do a proper drawing of it, and I hate myself for all the details I put in. This fabric was included in the original design as sort of a wispy, ethereal, I can pronounce words, addition. And then here it has a more uniform shape, but I still added in the sparkles because I think sparkles are fun and it works to give the design a little bit more flair. This sort of yellowy teeth there I think Bill would be bad at brushing his teeth. That's not a passive judgment, it's just the truth. And then I'm adding a little bit of shading because I did that in the original image as well. Just a heads up, if you're making a character reference that you intend other people to use, don't add shading or add very minimal shading, because when you add shading, it's going to be difficult for people to tell where they're supposed to get their colors from. Like, is this the base color? Is this a shaded color? Is this a part that I forgot to color in earlier? Yes, it is. But I love making last minute changes because I'm falling asleep and I'm not paying attention enough. More shading. Just enough shading where we can add a little bit of dimension, but also the intended colors are very visible. And then boom, here I'm putting it in the corner and I'm adding a few little sketches because I like adding sketches to my character design sheets just so I can see them in action and other people can see parts that are maybe not so visible in the design. Like, for example, this sketch here is literally just to show the peacock tail and what is going on with that and where it's coming out of. And I guess also it gives you an idea of his body shape from the side. I'm going to have a image of his face close up and angry. And then a image of him doing the eeny meeny miny you thing, which was an afterthought. Those lines I did for a second there was me wondering if I should add another ring to make it look even more like the wheel that is prophesied to destroy him. But I decided not to do that because, again, we're trying our best to balance details without making things too busy, and I thought that would make things too busy, so I didn't do it. Here's his angry face. It's, of course, gotta be red because he turns red when he's angry, and the candles flare up. And that's an idea I had in the original design as well. I thought it was super fun. So, of course, I had to keep it in this design. His little hair things always flip the canvas. I don't remember if I flipped the canvas at all in the original one, but also it's pretty much a symmetrical design, so it's not a big deal. Yeah, there's not really much for me to say. I'm sort of just putting these guys in action. So I guess I'll say my last words here. Shameless self-promotion. I do have some Gravity Falls stickers on my Redbubble, and I still have more ideas in the works. So, like, check back there every once in a while. I have thoughts, and thoughts are happening, and things are happening. And I also have a Bill animatic in the works. So, great time to be a Bill fan. I'm providing. The Book of Bill came out recently, which you should know unless you're living under a rock or you're not a Gravity Falls fan, which, if that's the case, why are you here? But that's pretty much all I got going on, so if you want to see an interpretation of mine of a different character, feel free to say in the comments, but no promises because I am so damn busy. I have so much going on with personal projects and with life. This was really not the best time to do this, but I was struck with inspiration and I thought it would be fun, and I was right. I had a lot of fun doing this. So yeah, tell me what you think. Argue with me if it looks really bad. Compliment me if you like it. That's usually how commenting works. Yeah, thanks for watching.